right there. Hey, who's that guy on the screen? Hello, good morning. Oh, I'm going to talk the whole show like this. Welcome to the show, everybody. I'm like Gumby, damn it. Damn it, I am Gumby. Damn it. Pokey, get over here. We got to go to town. We got to go pick up some Play-Doh. I ran out of Play-Doh and I need to make a new wife. That's what I need to do. Oh, God. What am I going to do now? Happy Friday, y'all. Good morning. Welcome to Friday. Man, I've missed doing a show. I've just been working it. There's rain today. Thank God. Oh, God. I'm so sore. I am so sore. So the first deck is done. Actually, there's two decks because I was able to save the lower deck. So I don't have pictures. Sorry. I'll figure something out. As soon as I get back in the show, I'm going to hook up the wireless thing again. I could take you for a little tour. But yeah, so the first two decks are done. As you know, the top deck was demolished because I fell through. And then we were able to perform surgery on the lower deck to save it. We had to remove all three pylons that held the deck up, and we were able to do that. And then we were able to build the deck on top of that. So that's two decks, and I'm not even done. I'm not even done, people. Not even close. That's right. I wonder if I can show you this. You're not going to see much, but there's another deck coming. I'm going to show you. Hang on. All right, so that was a little bit undramatic. You cannot actually see that deck from this camera angle. Let me see here. If I go up, you can see one little. There's a little board. Look, here's a board. Here's a 6x6 right there. Right? That's going on. All right, hang on. Let me shut the window because it'll help the light. So yeah. So yeah, that's the third deck. If you're going to, the first step's a doozy. That's why I'm building a deck. That's why I'm putting a deck out there. So that will be three decks, Eric. Not two, three. Now, the third deck is really a pea grass. That's really what the third deck is. The third grass is a pea grass. If you guys aren't familiar with pea grass, I need you to look for the word egress. James is always making up words. You know, James, you can't just go around making up words, like it's your language or something, like somehow English, like somehow you're a contributor to the English language. You can't just go around making up words, all right? So pea grass, right? Pea grass. What is a pea grass? A pea grass is an egress for an elderly dog. That's what it is, right? I want to make sure I've got this word right because, prove my lips time. I've been telling you guys it was Laszlo's pyramid, like for months. I've been telling you, Laszlo's pyramid flew golden shelter. And you guys are like, Laszlo's pyramid? That's correct. Only a handful of you have been secretly snickering behind your what do you call that? Not Cracker Jack. What do you call that? Behind your Cracker. I'm going to use Cracker Jack. Secretly smirking behind your Cracker Jack. You knew the whole time it was Maslow's pyramid. I've been telling you Laszlo's pyramid. And I think the closest that I can come as to why I did that, although, quick call Brian, it's Mandela effect. Call in the ambulance. We're going to need some kind of rectal probe because we have a Mandela effect. Or it could be Laszlo from the Bible. Could just be that I mixed those two things because it saved a lot of time. Hey, don't let me stop you. If you want to believe in the Mandela effect, you believe in it. If you want to believe that time and space are fractured, believe it. Embrace it with your heart, my friend. Be one with your mandala effect. Call in all the gods and say, my God, C-3PO had a silver leg. What does it mean, my friend? What does it mean, right? Right? So, see, we're learning things today, even if it took you 8 months for me to fess up and tell you that. So, yeah, apparently it's Maslow's pyramid. You know, I haven't even checked. It could even be that Maslow's wrong. I have not had time to prepare. Let's see here. Maslow's hierarchy. It does appear to be Maslow. There are 5 levels in Maslow's pyramid. Yep, physiological, food and clothing, right? That's level 1. Level 2, safety, job security. It's funny how they put job security and safety. That's not at all. That's not job security ain't got dick to do with anything in nature. Excuse me, deck. In Sweden, we pronounce how you say dick. Where you stand, you build platform on sticks. It is a very big dick, and you place furniture on it. That is Sweden's way of pronouncing the wooden structure that you fall through if you neglect yourself. Safety has nothing to do with this. That's ridiculous. Job security, I mean? Why are they putting job security? Why does job security parentheses for safety? When in the fuck has job security ever meant, well, we want you to be safe, and you know what I mean by safe is that you'll have job security. That's never been the case. I'm going to change it to Laszlo. Screw this. This is terrible. But anyway, the 3rd level is love and belonging, friendship. 4th is esteem. 5th is self-actualization. I don't agree with all of these, but I do think that until you've raised out of the 1st level. Okay, the 1st level of Maslow's pyramid is food, clothing, shelter. I didn't misspeak. Let me finish. The 1st level of Maslow's pyramid is food, clothing, shelter. Do you know how you've moved out of Maslow's pyramid? You stop calling it Laszlo. That's how. So don't go around correcting everybody. The reason why many of you did not correct me is because you knew it was a necessary evolutionary test for me. It was a self-test. And if you gave me the answers, that would ruin the whole thing. So the first step out of Maslow's pyramid is to stop calling it Maslow. That's the first step. And once you've surpassed the food, clothing, shelter of Maslow's pyramid, you could start calling it Laszlo. I mean, Laszlo, you could start calling it Maslow. Oh, God, I just screwed that up. Oh, geez, I just recorded all that, too, in my brain and in your brain, too. One of you is young, and you're going to take the SAT, and you're going to fucking miss that question. And I just saved your ass from going into, like, $385,000 in debt for a master's degree while you spent 4 years being browbeat by someone that has like 4 vaginas telling you how awful you are because your genitals are on the outside. So you're welcome. All of these things are very specially planned and plotted. All of these things, right? All of them are. We even got in Russia, Dick, it was a Russia, Dick builds you. That's hilarious. Spectral, that's great. Okay, so yeah, so that's the man. What was I talking about? So that deck that they just as the show was starting, they were delivering. Oh God, they were delivering even more lumbar for my back, more lumbar for my back, and that will be going in. I have to pour the concrete again because Lord knows I've not mixed enough concrete. I will be pouring 2 more little footers, not that big of a deal. We'll create a beam, build the deck on top of the beam. The purpose of that deck will be a peagrass. That's what I was talking about, peagrass. And I want to make sure that I have the word right, egress. Egress. As you guys know, oh good, I had that right. as you guys know, before we get to egress, I need you to know that John Audubon, the founder of the Audubon Society, drew a lot of birds, and drew the male and the female constantly. It was like his life mission. And on his deathbed, his wife said, John, the biographer wants to know, do you have any uh, any uh, any last remnants of life that maybe are making you think of something dramatic and profound that you want to say? And John turned to her and said, "Yes, I have but one egret." That's the joke. See, he had only drawn the female egret. He actually hadn't drawn the male egret. So his dying on his deathbed, his final words were, "I have but one egret," and that's. Does anybody get that? Okay, Brian B might get that, although he could be that he's laughing about something totally different. It's probably that. It could be. Anyway, um, egress. Let's get back to the subject. Not egret. Egress. To egress is the art of going out of a place. Okay. So when I fell through, we took away the stairs. There's no stairs anymore to my top floor, which is good because I had built internal staircase to my top floor last summer. See? 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 I might be procrastinating, lazy, dangerous, and self-destructive, but I'm not a procrastinator. All right? Sure, I might procrastinate, but I it's not like I'm going to procrastinate at the beginning. I'm going to get frickin' 85% of the way there. Then I'm going to procrastinate. And that's a hard that's a hard trait to find in a procrastinator. You women out there with your men that are 62% procrastinators. God. Man, I tell you. Step up into the big leagues, right? Climb out of Maslow's pyramid. Climb out of Maslow's pyramid into Maslow's pyramid and find the 82% procrastinator, because that's what I am. So, internal staircase, which is good. Dog, Wiley, does not like the staircase. Doesn't like things new. When the deck fell, Wiley keeps going outside the deck and trying to go down the staircase. Even today. Still happens, all right? That's all right. Okay, it's got a barricade. It's more of a dogicade, but it works. But now, Wiley doesn't like going in the internal staircase. He doesn't like going that alone. He needs my help. He needs me to walk him down the steps. There's a problem because Wiley has got a very lucrative bladder, we'll just say. His bladder is very lucrative in his old age. And he doesn't always know when it's going to produce some coins, some golden coins, right? Some golden showers. When I built a new deck, one of the first things Wiley did was pee on it. And it's kind of weird because you've put all this effort into this and you're watching your beautiful dog pee all over your deck. But he didn't mind doing that to the old deck because it was a piece of crap. Who cares? Who cares who peed on it, right? So we're learning a lesson here. So I need a pegress, not an egress. I need if through this window, if I had a deck, you would notice that there's no steps. None. None. Wiley could just go out there and just touch grass with his feet and pee on it. It would be beautiful. So that's what we're doing. We're not done with the decks. We are close. Holy shit, we're close. We are so close, but we're just not there yet. And that will happen as soon as the pegress is built. We'll be getting into that. I have no pickets. Tried hawk fencing. Nope, not going to work. Sticking to my guns, going with the Ewok rope, cargo rope. We'll see what that looks like. I'll show you that. It's going to take a while to get here. Apparently the rope makers consider tying rope very advanced, and their secret cutting edge lab Must have suffered some kind of cleaning issue, maybe, where they had to go in and, you know, set the pace down. Do you guys see Layla? Layla is the cover of today's live stream. Um, Layla is a violinist. I think she's from Sydney or something. Played in a lot of talented, world renowned. Was the muse of Aleister Crowley, and you see her in this picture where she was invoked for a ceremony. She was the Scarlet Woman, and was invoked for a ceremony by playing the violin. It was a dilation ceremony, basically. And the dilation ceremony called for a virgin. And I want you guys to know that this is the real definition of the word virgin. Virgin is not one who's never touched a man. That's a very Disney thing. A woman who's not touched a man doesn't actually know what it's like to touch a man. I know. I've touched myself many times, and some people don't have this experience, you know. And hey, who am I to deny? So no, this kind of comes into Jacqueline and Boaz, the two towers, a little bit. Mentioned this a little bit last night in Esoteric Journey. You cannot have supremacy without. You cannot have mercy without supremacy. You require supremacy first. And Layla could not be a virgin. Layla had to be someone with virginity. But she had to know what virginity actually was. This was a very, very important aspect of this. She had to invoke both towers. Now, sex magic is certainly it's very Freemasonic, but it's not like Freemasonry invented sex magic. That definitely did not happen. But any kind of magic that you have running on resonance, on synchronicity, is going to tap into as many different dimensions as possible. The symbolism that we tend to dismiss in the normalcy of life is the actual glue and icing on the cake, right? Of what makes this magic work. Layla, I should. Can I put a picture of Layla up? I should have done that. Sorry, guys. I want to get back to this show. As soon as this pea grass is done, man, we're going to get back on this thing. Do all kinds of cool stuff like this. We can have pictures ready. All kinds of stuff. Here we go. Here's Layla. I find these photographs just mesmerizing, by the way. You know, it's 1909, 1908. People are bored. They're reading a lot. They're reading more than they've ever read before. They're accessing literature that seriously was a whole new wave of literature that washed upon the mind. I hope people realize that early American Renaissance, when America was finding its legs, even not only before the Civil War, but Revolutionary War, but afterwards. I'm sorry, I do mean Civil War. Before the Civil War, and even afterwards, that the Civil War was something that was installed, meaning that most people just weren't participating in that bullshit. It was only this select few cucks that were like, yeah, let's totally fucking have a war and do this stuff, right? You were looking at a country of some of the richest magic you'd ever seen. Look at the Mormon stories. Look at the movement of Israel, of all the prophets and places in Israel and in Egypt, moving over to America, and entirely new ideas of thought being built around this American ideal. We were inventing religion again, is what we were doing. We were inventing thoughts. We were inventing our own connection to their amperage. This mysticism is something that we all take for granted now because it's tailor made for us out of Hollywood. And you, sadly, are infected by the same friends I have that will just not stop fucking talking about Hollywood. That every single thing that they have to share is about this movie that Hollywood put out. And it ruins your ability to have these moments with Layla. It ruins your ability to define the mysticism of your own life and truly tap into what makes something powerful. The moment someone saran wraps your idea into a Hollywood movie that someone saw or an episode of Friends is this kind of saran wrap that gets wrapped around it, which stops it from even being real anymore. The technology of it all has been copyrighted. It's been placed in a vault. It's released to Walmart during certain holiday periods. And all movies are like this, except for when Layla was around. There was a time when you could paint someone's mind as richly as anyone in Hollywood could. And that you could produce a few photographs or a performance piece that would simply outdilate everyone else in the room. Right now, in America, in the modern world, our idea of outdilating someone is with CGI. Since the Apollo program, CGI has been the leading magic when it comes to dilation and building new beliefs, building new thoughts that didn't exist before. Back then, everyone had potency. Back then, you could tell stories of golden scrolls written by Gabriel as he dictated backwards through a well the secrets of life itself. And only then would those writings all be lost and they would have to be reinterpreted. But instead of being reinterpreted word for word, a whole new story would be built because Gabriel was bored and didn't want to tell the same story twice. So even though these sacred tablets are completely crucial to history itself, because you lost them, I will have to start again and just tell you a different story. Entire religions are built off this stuff. Entire religions are built off technology. Witch prickers. The placing of a nail inside a thigh. That nail poking an inch into the skin and watching the reactions of that nail, the reactions of the patient to determine whether or not they were a witch. That witch pricking is the exact same kind of dilation technology that we have now. And it came about before a time of Hollywood, before the time of commercials. Most of your mysticism comes to you with a fucking commercial. And for Prilosec OTC, blah, 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 blah. Someone's walking, there's a bicycle somewhere. A little girl is learning to ride without training wheels. The father is looking on encouragingly. The mother's looking through the kitchen window as she happens to pan in on the bottle of Prilosec OTC. That is the Layla of today. I want you to imagine how real it must have felt back then. When CGI was Layla herself. And Layla was a certain character that fit a certain ritual that was necessary for the dilation to begin. It was Layla who held the power, not CGI. It was Layla. Very, very, very different kind of energy. The potency, I would say, back then was more, and it's across the board. If you look at all of our medical myths that we believe today, all of our stories of Columbus, anything in government, anything about war, all those have been painted by the same Laylas playing the same violin, but they've been outproduced, saturated, right? It's saturated so badly that before you can even present your Layla, someone's telling you, it reminds me of that movie, that Marvel movie where the guy was the Marvel and he came in and did that thing with that other guy, then that other superhero, because everyone's a mutant, but they have to hide their identity because anonymity is the source of power in this world, which is completely antithetical to every fucking thing Layla stood for. This was Crowley's muse. And yeah, some of you guys have noticed it's Eric Clapton sang this same song, the Ode to Layla, the Ode to Dilation. So, Layla was a virgin who's been around, right? The Scarlet Whore is someone that was presented with purity, but had the supremacy. She had the supremacy of the whore, and she presented mercy as the virgin. It's a very special kind of actualization. It's the actualized woman. And this is the ancient woman of Athens, by the way. If you read my book, The Technology of Belief, there's a story about this, about the Parthenon itself was named after the word Parthenia. Parthenia is this essence of virginity. That when you hold yourself in chastity, that the Parthenia builds up over time. And it charges itself like a lithium battery. And that lithium battery can be pushed into a circuit, pushed in through a gate. And that the people that gather for the ceremony of Layla are mesmerized. They're mesmerized by her confidence as she unleashes her song and breaks her virginity. It's the breaking of virginity that makes it so special. It's what makes the magic flow, right? So the secret to this is never ever abstention. The secret to this is mastery and then control, right? Mastery and then abstention, however you want to phrase it. A man is not powerful until he is supreme. A meek man does not get to come in and say, well, I'm showing all of you mercy. Every one of you inherits my mercy. That mercy is meaningless. Meaningless without the Scarlet Whore first. Layla probably wrote like 3 of Crowley's books. I don't mean like she physically wrote them, but he basically was just so mesmerized by her that whatever he wrote at the time, he felt was so dilating. Why? Because Layla was dilating him. Because she was dilating him. And so the muse itself becomes the pen. And Crowley's dilation is really the source of what he thought was the truth. And there's some thoughts to that. If you were to remap reality, what are the places and spaces and crevices in this world that are the most dilating? Wouldn't that be some sort of a landscape? It's a lot like, there's only going to be certain spots that you can stand in this world that you can see really far away. We call these vistas. But if you were to remap that consciousness, I think what you'd see is that truly these vistas are just simply connection points, that there's more nodes. There's just more trains in the station. There are more vectors on top of Grandfather Mountain that are connected to more other spaces, more other vectors in space than there are in a place that doesn't have a view. That being on top of the mountain is a juncture, right? It's an intersection of thought. It's an intersection of ideas. They converged there. People are the same way. There's certain witnesses. Julius Caesar let's say that Julius Caesar's real, like a real character. I'm not saying I doubt it. I'm just saying we don't know, right? That would be a vista. There'd be a vista of witness that more people have access to. Much the same as, hey, I wonder who lives on top of that hill right there. Whose house is that on top of that hill? It's the exact same thing. Location, 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 right? I don't think he wrote her music. Maybe, but she was pretty accomplished. I don't know, maybe. He definitely probably had something to do with the costume, didn't he? And I would imagine that if anything, she's got the Rosicrucian cross, and then the Golden Dawn Hermetic hat on. She's not veiled, though. She's not veiled. Each of you have the ability to tap into or be this kind of muse for someone else. You're already doing it. And one of the things that's kind of like a bummer, another bummer about Hollywood is that when you grow up, you keep presented and people keep regurgitating and repeating it over and over again. This is the Layla. This is the Layla. The Layla is Megan Fox. The Layla is Marilyn Monroe. And what you end up doing is denying the Layla that's all around you. Holy fuck. You were surrounded by Layla. She's all around you. You can smell her parthenia as she preserves it. It's teeming, it's dripping from her teeth. But you were often invaded by this hypothetical. Hey, remember that Marvel movie? Do you remember that Marvel movie where the Scarlett Johansson lady comes in and she's got curves and stuff? And remember that? Yeah, that was hot. Yeah, that becomes the Layla. It becomes this ground. It's shorts. Yeah, it becomes a short. I feel it shorts out our script. That's why Will Smith is bitch slapping guys right now. That's why Depp and Heard are playing this part. This is a movie. You know that, right? It's a movie. It's probably got some really dramatic name to it. Like The Wrist That Turns, or The Other Side. Yeah, The Other Side. These parts have been written because it was the only way to dilate the original movie, was that, well, no, look, if you want to be Spider-Man, you're going to have a real life love relationship with the Spider-Woman chick. And that you guys have to be in love during the production and after production, because that's really the only thing that we can possibly do to add more CGI to this shit. Is that we have to computer graphiциze even your personal life and pour it into this Will Smith drama script. And you know, those guys aren't acting. They're not acting. That's what's so profound about it, is when you've been turned inside out this long, you stop acting. You're just who you are. It's no different than those. You meet these neighbors sometimes where everything is amazing. You meet these people sometimes where every single thing that they talk about is amazing, and the haircut they got was amazing, and the way that they parked was amazing. And we were at the Dollar General store, and we bought these amazing frisbees, and this amazing this, and this amazing that. It turns into this gentrification of Layla. It turns into this echo of an echo of an echo of an echo that all came from Hollywood, and you don't even get to embrace the Layla that's in the room. That she is outvoted by this bullshit mantra of people that are just regurgitating shit that they heard on TV. This is such a nuanced bitch, isn't it? What I'm bitching about? This is such a nuanced, specialized gefilte fish of where the fuck did you find this to even bitch about this, James? But I see Laylas in real life all the time. And I notice how many times they get defunded from power because we need to talk about the Hollywood version of the same thing. Why? Because it's been CGI'd. Because it's been placed on the billboards. Because no matter what the fuck you do, when you come to the water cooler, there's going to be people, and you know for a fact before you even show up that they're going to be talking about that. They're going to be telling you, I'm Team Depp. Yeah, I'm not on Amber Heard's side. And you're looking around, and you're just like, who the fuck would be on her side with the way this story's been? Are you fucking kidding me? Is this really that hard? And the answer is yes. That this Hollywood Laylas would never work if people could afford more, if they could step out of that Maslow's pyramid, right? Into Maslow. If they could step out, you were surrounded by these Laylas. God, I wish I could show you my phone. It probably seemed kind of creepy to you guys, but this is how I process it. There's this beautiful, beautiful, beautiful woman. Calls herself Vistara. And small account on Instagram. She's just into like truth and like cool shit and reality and stuff. And when I see her, when I see what she posts, I am profoundly dilated by it. I have it as my screensaver. It's not a Hollywood image. It's someone that I know. And I don't want to tell her that because I don't want to freak her out. I don't want to like, because of the way society is, people are like, oh, well, geez, you must be, and it's like, no, all it is you dilate me. And this picture you took dilates me. It dilates me. You're my Layla. Star is my Layla. And fuck you for bringing this Hollywood shit in. This is everywhere, all around you. It's in the grocery store. This morning, a new chef took over of Fred's Mercantile, which has been great because since COVID, that place has been run by this just awful, evacuated, disassociated lady. And I got so bad I stopped coming in there. And I was going in there placing stickers, "Humanity is not a virus," all over the doors because they were just like, we gotta fucking get you, everyone's gonna die of COVID if you don't put a mask on. We can't serve water here because water would transmit COVID. And so this morning I walk in and here's this lady and she's like, "Thank you so much for your business." And she's got her name on her shirts is like Chef Layla Wolf. It wasn't Layla, but I'm going to say Layla Wolf. And I was like, is that your name? And she was like, yes. And I was like, wow, that's awesome. So you run this place now? She's like, yeah. Started talking about it. It was like, there's my Layla. Made a hell of a sandwich, by the way. Breakfast sandwich. Hell of a sandwich. Guys, you could be dilated by women, but it doesn't mean that you have to... You could be dilated by people. And you're going to be living in a world where people think if you're dilated by them, it must mean you're attracted to them. And that's just 8-bit. You're dealing with 8-bit people. 8-bit people thinks, well, if you're dilated by Layla, it means you must want to have sex with Layla. You just want to have sex with her. You're dilated by her, so you want to have sex with her. And yeah, it could be. It could be. But what I see happening is that most people in the world find themselves dilated by everyone, and then the first thing they do is, hey, I need to have sex with you. And it's like, why? It's like, because I'm dilated by you, and I need to know that that's not exactly what I meant. Then they have sex with them, and if they could be more honest, they'd be like, it's not really what I meant. Like, it was great, it was interesting to have sex, but it's not really what was dilating me about you. There's a nuance to all this dilation. Be dilated by a violin. Just because it has a vagina between its legs doesn't mean that you have to have sex with a violin. But you're only going to think that if you're 8-bit. And there's nothing wrong with thinking about having sex with Layla. There's nothing wrong with that at all. But I'm telling you, the dilation comes in all these different degrees and flavors. But if you're always taking the one that's just fucking regurgitated to you from Hollywood, it's like, oh, you mean like Megan Fox, right? It's like, no, I don't. No. You kidding? No. No, I mean this girl I saw. I mean this lady that's now taking her job really seriously. I mean this violinist that is saying something with her fingers. When you start to ingest that animism and put it right into the people that are around you, if you start to appreciate who dilates you around you, all that hypothetical mess that you've been pouring into Hollywood movies or whatever else will stop, and you will have abundance with yourself, and you will become a fountainhead of witness. You will be able to secrete this witness directly onto the people around you that you know personally, able to have this relationship with them. And it doesn't get to be one of these things where you're like, hey, I bestowed my witness upon you, so I would like some credit for that. You get to jump back into the world of potlatch here, where you're just giving to give. I expect nothing to happen out of these, I'll call them relationships, but it's a witness relationship I have. There's nothing obscure or devious or coming. It's just enjoying the moment itself. When someone else is the antenna and you're in their presence, it feels just as special as if you're the antenna and someone else is in your presence. When you come out of Maslow's pyramid, you really start to understand this math. And when you understand this math, I think it becomes more important for you to stop shedding so much witness. And many of you hear me say shedding victimhood and you think it's a witch hunt and that we're here to kill victimhood. No, we're not. We're here to notice what we spend it on. That's it. We're here to notice what we spend it on. That's all you have to do. Your budget's your budget. You get to decide what's important to you, right? You get to decide where you want to spend it. No one else is going to know where you should spend it. Only you're going to know that. So, there was a lot more prana going around then. This is the same time of Nikola Tesla's violet ray device. Remember that? We were giving each other electricity. Books like 30 Years Among the Dead were being written. People were connecting and tapping into power. They weren't drinking sugar and eating salt as they sat in a dark room and watched giant heads on a silver screen transmit who would be getting your dilation, who would be processing and reselling your fame. When we reclaim this energy, holy shit, this world. Oh, Oh, but so colorful. You'll be pouring so many colors out of you to every part of you, becoming all, every pore, piloelectrically bursting itself out. You know it, I know it. We're almost there too. Enjoy, enjoy what you got. Invest that prana wisely in you, right? Look around and go, I don't want that TV show or that movie getting my prana. When someone goes, did you see so and so? Just say, no. Sure, you could see it, but do you really want to make the conversation about that movie you saw? Or do you want to make the conversation about the actual magic that was in play right before the movie came up? You guys were talking about something real, and then this movie came up, and it was a piece of saran wrap was wrapped around it, and it became something else. Became something else. So subtle, right? No idea if you guys even get that point. It's subtle as subtle can be, but it's important. The demon's hypothetica. We've talked about this, right? When you find yourself in a hypothetical, when you find yourself in a hypothetical gate and you're worried about something, all of that is hypothetically collected energy. Those are real calories. But those real calories are being wrapped in a hypothetical. They're being expunged from this world. They're going somewhere else. Some people call this loosh. I don't call it that, but you can call it that. I got no problem with that. You can call it that if you want. It's wasted. And I think Hollywood does the same thing. Can you picture what it was like to be invited to a ceremony in an old theater? You go to the old theater, and before the fire codes, everything was literally dark. The entire theater was dark. And then one light comes on. And there's Layla on the stage. She doesn't say a word. She can't. If Layla was to talk, it would ruin the scarlet whore. She would cease to be that part. Her voice carries more when it's silent. Silence is a beat, isn't it? And there's the anticipation. Everyone in the room knows there's only 4 strings. The only thing she can do is rub horsehair against 4 strings, back and forth. And the ceremony begins. There's a deeper quantum entanglement that happens in a dark room with anticipation. When it gets dark, all of your hope, your anticipation turns into fingers, and you start touching things in the dark. And whatever you touch, you become quantumly entangled with, even if it's other people that are in the room. You trauma bond with someone when you see something for the first time that dilates you. You two are forever quantumly entangled in the fact that both of you were bonded that night you went to see Layla. And I'll tell you that even if Layla played horribly, that the moment she played, over half the room would be enamored with how beautiful it was. The exact same way when Crowley was spitting out Book 4. You're basically just reading the musings of a dude that just really got his rocks off. That found himself dilated by a woman. The power itself raises itself up because the people in the room want a dilating experience. And what they want, they will get. Why? Because Layla has not broken her silence. That would ruin it. and no one knows who Layla is. She will return to obscurity because she is the Scarlet Whore, and it's the only part she can play. And what does Hollywood do? Oh, there's Depp. He was a pirate, then he sold some chocolate, then he was like a retard. Can you say that? He's like, no, he's like the brother of one, and then he was like 21 Jump Street, and all of those things are taking you back into these hypothetical gates, and they're paying each of those producers this prana energy. But not Layla. Layla's not going to say a word. Her role is for life. So much magic in these things. So much magic, and so much of it is glossed over because we have these saran wrap. Yeah, Edward Scissorhands. Man, I love Edward Scissorhands. Exactly. It's a great movie. We will pay that gate, won't we? We'll do that now. We could be doing that for each other too. And we do. That's why we have friends. That's what makes friends friends, really. So, I'm not here to tell you how to spend your energy. I'm here to point to where it goes. That's it. That's the only point, really. Pistos Sophia. You should explain that more, Red Queen. It's an interesting thought. Guys, we have dojo today at 12:30 if you want to come to that. Starting in 34 minutes. And yeah. I think I'm done. I'm going to make sure my wood got delivered right and go down there and count what I got. Come back up for dojo. Do some dojo, then lay some concrete. And yeah. Hope you guys have a great Friday the 13th. Here's one of those days, isn't it? Here's one of those days. Friday the 13th. The darkness is here for you to do whatever you want to do with it. Right? What did you come to see? What did you come for Friday the 13th to mean? What was the point of that, right? Have a great day. All right, so there's this crocodile, and he's singing this number on the stool, and he's like, "Oh, regrets. I've had a few, and it new. I did it my